Let me ask you a simple question. You drink coffee every day, don't you? Millions of people do, but what if I told you that one simple powder, something natural, inexpensive, and overlooked could transform your morning coffee into a powerful health tonic? Not hype, not a gimmick, real physiological benefits backed by science. Today I'm going to show you exactly what this powder is, why it works, and what happens inside your body when you add it to your coffee. And by the end of this video, you may never drink coffee the same way again. The powder is, yes, cinnamon, but not just any cinnamon. We're talking about true cinnamon, also known as Ceylon cinnamon. This spice has been used in natural medicine for thousands of years, and when combined with coffee, something remarkable happens. When we talk about blood sugar, we're really talking about one of the most important systems in the entire human body. Blood sugar stability affects your energy, your mood, your weight, your brain, your heart, and how fast you age. Yet most people unknowingly start every single morning in a way that disrupts it. You wake up, you haven't eaten, cortisol is already elevated, and then you pour a strong cup of coffee. For many people, that caffeine rush causes a rapid rise in blood glucose, followed by an equally rapid crash. You may not feel it immediately, but inside your body, insulin is being pushed harder than it should be. Over time, this repeated stress is what leads to insulin resistance, prediabetes, and eventually type 2 diabetes. Now here's where cinnamon changes the entire equation. Cinnamon has a unique ability to improve how your cells respond to insulin. Insulin is the hormone that acts like a key, opening the door so glucose can move from your bloodstream into your cells, where it can be used for energy. When your cells stop responding well to insulin, glucose stays in the blood, causing damage to blood vessels, nerves, and organs. Cinnamon helps restore that sensitivity, meaning your body needs less insulin to do the same job. This is not theory. Multiple studies have shown that cinnamon can reduce fasting blood glucose levels and improve insulin function, especially in people with elevated blood sugar. And what makes this especially powerful is timing. When cinnamon is added to coffee in the morning, it helps counteract the blood sugar raising effects of caffeine at the exact moment they occur. Instead of a spike, you get balance. Instead of a crash, you get steady energy. Instead of feeling shaky, irritable, or hungry an hour later, your body remains calm and regulated. One of the reasons cinnamon works so well is because it slows the rate at which food empties from the stomach. This means glucose enters the bloodstream more gradually, preventing sudden surges. Even if you drink coffee with breakfast or add a small amount of milk, cinnamon helps smooth out the entire metabolic response. Your pancreas doesn't have to work overtime, and your blood sugar stays within a healthier range. For seniors, this is especially important. As we age, insulin sensitivity naturally declines, muscle mass decreases, physical activity often drops, and the body becomes less efficient at handling glucose. This is why so many people develop blood sugar problems later in life, even if they never had issues before. Cinnamon provides gentle daily support without side effects, without stressing the liver, and without interfering with medications when used in normal amounts. Another overlooked benefit is how stable blood sugar affects cravings. When your glucose rises and falls rapidly, your brain interprets that drop as an emergency. It demands quick fuel, usually in the form of sugar or refined carbohydrates. This is why so many people crave sweets mid-morning or feel the need to snack constantly. By keeping blood sugar steady, cinnamon helps reduce these cravings naturally. You feel satisfied longer, more in control, and less driven by sudden hunger signals. There's also a direct connection between blood sugar and inflammation. High glucose levels damage blood vessels and trigger inflammatory responses throughout the body. Over time, this contributes to joint pain, nerve damage, vision problems, and cardiovascular disease. By stabilizing blood sugar, cinnamon helps reduce this hidden inflammation at its source. This is not just about diabetes, it's about protecting the entire body from long-term damage. Let's also talk about energy, because people often confuse stimulation with energy. Coffee stimulates the nervous system, but unstable blood sugar drains true cellular energy. When your glucose is balanced, your mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, work more efficiently. That means you feel alert without feeling wired, focused without feeling anxious, and energized without the afternoon crash. The beauty of this approach is its simplicity. You're not adding another pill, you're not following a complicated protocol, you're simply enhancing something you already do every day. A quarter to half a teaspoon of true cinnamon added to your coffee becomes a daily metabolic reset, gently guiding your body toward balance instead of stress. And consistency is key. Blood sugar problems don't develop overnight, and they don't resolve overnight either. But small, intelligent habits practiced daily create profound change over time. When you support your body instead of shocking it, the body responds with resilience. This is how real health works. Not extremes, not quick fixes, just understanding how the body functions and working with it instead of against it. Chronic inflammation is one of the most misunderstood processes in the body, yet it is at the center of nearly every degenerative condition we see today. It doesn't show up overnight, and it doesn't always cause immediate pain, which is why so many people ignore it. But silently, day after day, inflammation accelerates aging, damages blood vessels, stiffens joints, and places constant strain on the heart. Most people assume inflammation only comes from injury or infection. That's not true. Inflammation is often driven by what we consume, how our blood sugar fluctuates, how stressed our nervous system is, and how much oxidative damage is happening inside our cells. Coffee, while rich in antioxidants, can increase stress hormones in the body. On its own, it may slightly elevate inflammatory markers in sensitive individuals. This is where cinnamon plays a critical role. Cinnamon contains powerful bioactive compounds, particularly polyphenols, that act as natural anti-inflammatory agents. These compounds neutralize free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cells and trigger inflammatory responses. When free radicals overwhelm the body's defenses, inflammation becomes chronic. Cinnamon helps restore balance by reducing oxidative stress at the cellular level. When you add cinnamon to coffee, you're not just masking bitterness or improving flavor, you're creating a synergistic effect. Coffee provides antioxidants that scavenge free radicals, while cinnamon enhances that protection and calms inflammatory pathways. Together, they support a healthier internal environment, especially for the cardiovascular system. Let's talk about the heart, because inflammation and heart disease are inseparable. Plaque buildup in the arteries is not just a cholesterol issue, it's an inflammatory process. When blood vessels become irritated or damaged, the body responds by sending inflammatory cells to the area. Over time, this leads to stiff, narrowed arteries and reduced blood flow. Cinnamon has been shown to reduce markers of inflammation associated with this process, helping keep blood vessels more flexible and responsive. Cinnamon also supports healthy lipid levels. Elevated triglycerides and LDL cholesterol increase inflammation inside the arteries. Cinnamon helps lower these levels, reducing the burden on the cardiovascular system. This doesn't mean cinnamon replaces a healthy diet or lifestyle, but it does provide daily support that accumulates over time. Another overlooked benefit is circulation. Inflammation thickens the blood and reduces nitric oxide production, which is essential for blood vessel dilation. Cinnamon helps improve circulation by enhancing blood flow and reducing vascular resistance. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients reaching tissues, including the heart, brain, and muscles. This is why many people report warmer hands and feet, less stiffness, and improved endurance when they consistently use cinnamon. Joint pain is another common manifestation of chronic inflammation, especially as we age. Stiff knees, aching hips, and sore fingers are often signs of low-grade inflammation circulating throughout the body. By calming inflammatory responses, cinnamon helps reduce this background irritation. While it's not a painkiller, its long-term use supports joint comfort and mobility by addressing the root cause rather than masking symptoms. There's also an important connection between inflammation and blood sugar. High glucose levels trigger inflammatory reactions that damage blood vessels and nerves. This creates a vicious cycle where inflammation worsens insulin resistance, and insulin resistance fuels more inflammation. Cinnamon helps break this cycle by improving insulin sensitivity and reducing inflammatory signaling at the same time. This dual action is especially valuable for people at risk of metabolic syndrome and heart disease. So stress plays a major role here as well. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which promotes inflammation and strains the heart. Coffee stimulates the nervous system, which can amplify the stress response if not balanced. Cinnamon has a calming effect on the body's stress pathways, helping moderate cortisol levels and reduce the inflammatory impact of stress. This means you get the alertness of coffee without excessive strain on your system. Inflammation is also deeply connected to aging. As inflammatory markers rise, tissues lose elasticity, healing slows, and the risk of chronic disease increases. Cinnamon's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties help slow this process, supporting healthier aging from the inside out. This isn't about stopping time, it's about aging with strength, mobility, and vitality. One of the most important aspects of cinnamon's benefits is consistency. Inflammation doesn't come from one bad meal or one stressful day. It builds slowly over years. Likewise, reducing inflammation requires daily supportive habits. Adding cinnamon to coffee is simple, repeatable, and sustainable. It becomes part of your routine rather than another task to remember. And unlike many anti-inflammatory drugs, cinnamon does not suppress the immune system. It works with the body, not against it. It calms excessive inflammation while allowing normal immune responses to function as they should. This is a key distinction, especially for older adults who need immune resilience, not suppression. True health is not about dramatic interventions. It's about understanding how small, intelligent choices influence the body over time. When you reduce inflammation, you reduce strain on the heart, improve circulation, protect your joints, and support longevity. These benefits don't announce themselves loudly, but they accumulate quietly, steadily, and powerfully. Sometimes the most profound changes come from the simplest actions, and something as ordinary as adding cinnamon to your coffee can become a daily act of protection for your heart and your entire body. The brain is one of the most metabolically active organs in the entire body. Even though it makes up only a small percentage of your total weight, it consumes a tremendous amount of energy every single day. This is why mental clarity, focus, and memory are so closely tied to blood flow, oxygen delivery, and inflammation levels. When any of these systems are compromised, the brain feels it immediately. Most people rely on coffee to wake up the brain. Caffeine blocks adenosine, the chemical that makes you feel tired, giving the sensation of alertness. But alertness is not the same as clarity. Many people feel wired yet unfocused, stimulated yet mentally scattered. This often happens because caffeine increases nervous system activity without improving circulation or reducing inflammation in the brain. This is where cinnamon changes the effect. Cinnamon enhances cerebral blood flow, meaning more oxygen and nutrients are delivered to brain cells. When blood vessels are inflamed or constricted, the brain struggles to function at its best. Cinnamon helps relax and support healthy blood vessel function, allowing the brain to receive what it needs to operate efficiently. The result is smoother, more sustained mental energy rather than a sharp spike followed by mental fatigue. Inflammation in the brain is another silent problem, especially as we age. Chronic low-grade inflammation interferes with neurotransmitter signaling and damages neurons over time. This is one of the contributing factors to memory decline and cognitive slowing. Cinnamon's anti-inflammatory compounds help calm this environment, protecting brain tissue from ongoing damage. This is not about instant results, it's about long-term preservation of brain health. Oxidative stress also plays a major role in cognitive decline. Free radicals damage cell membranes and DNA within neurons, accelerating aging in the brain. Cinnamon is rich in antioxidants that neutralize these free radicals. When combined with the antioxidants already present in coffee, the protective effect is amplified. Together, they create a biochemical shield that supports neuronal integrity. Another important factor in brain function is glucose metabolism. The brain relies almost exclusively on glucose for fuel, but too much or too little can impair function. Rapid blood sugar spikes followed by crashes lead to brain fog, irritability, and poor concentration. Cinnamon helps regulate glucose availability to the brain by improving insulin sensitivity and stabilizing blood sugar. This means the brain receives a steady, reliable supply of fuel which supports sustained focus and mental endurance. There is also evidence that cinnamon may help reduce the buildup of abnormal proteins in the brain that are associated with neurodegenerative conditions. While no single food prevents disease, supporting healthy protein metabolism and reducing inflammation creates an environment where the brain can better protect itself. This is especially important for seniors who want to maintain independence and mental sharpness as they age. Stress has a profound impact on the brain. Chronic stress shrinks areas of the brain involved in memory and learning, while overstimulating areas linked to fear and anxiety. Coffee can intensify this stress response by increasing cortisol levels. Cinnamon helps moderate this effect by supporting blood sugar balance and reducing inflammatory signaling. It helps keep the nervous system more stable. This allows you to enjoy the mental stimulation of coffee without excessive anxiety or jitteriness. Another overlooked benefit is mood regulation. Neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine are sensitive to inflammation and blood sugar fluctuations. When these systems are out of balance, mood suffers. Cinnamon's stabilizing effect supports a more even emotional state, which in turn improves cognitive performance. A calm brain is a focused brain. As we age, circulation naturally declines and the blood-brain barrier becomes more vulnerable to damage. Supporting vascular health is one of the most important strategies for preserving cognitive function. Cinnamon helps maintain healthy circulation, which protects the delicate structures of the brain. Better circulation also means faster removal of metabolic waste products that can interfere with neural signaling. Memory formation and recall depend on communication between neurons. Inflammation, oxidative stress, and poor circulation disrupt this communication. Cinnamon addresses all three of these factors simultaneously. This multi-targeted support is what makes it so valuable as a daily habit rather than a temporary solution. One of the most important things to understand about brain health is that it is cumulative. The brain reflects your habits over decades, not days. You don't suddenly lose clarity or memory. It gradually fades as supportive systems break down. Likewise, you don't build brain resilience overnight. It develops through consistent, intelligent choices that reduce stress and support circulation. Adding cinnamon to coffee is one of those choices. It doesn't demand effort or discipline beyond what you already do. It simply enhances a routine that's already part of your life. Over time, these small daily improvements in circulation, inflammation control, and glucose regulation add up to meaningful cognitive protection. True mental clarity is not about forcing the brain to perform. It's about creating the conditions where the brain can function naturally and efficiently. When you reduce inflammation, improve blood flow, stabilize energy, and calm the nervous system, clarity follows. One of the greatest misconceptions about health is that it requires complicated routines, expensive supplements, or drastic lifestyle changes. In reality, the body responds best to simple, consistent habits that work in harmony with its natural design. The most powerful changes are often the easiest to maintain because they fit seamlessly into daily life rather than disrupting it. This is where small daily rituals become so important. Every habit you repeat sends a message to your nervous system, your hormones, and your metabolism. Over time, those messages shape how your body functions. Drinking coffee is already one of the most consistent habits for millions of people. When you enhance that habit with a supportive natural ingredient, you transform something ordinary into a daily act of self-care. Cinnamon is not a drug and it's not meant to override the body's intelligence. It works gently, supporting normal physiological processes rather than forcing change. This is why it's generally well tolerated and safe for long-term use when consumed in reasonable amounts. The body recognizes it as food, not as a foreign substance that needs to be managed or detoxified. Consistency is the key. One day of cinnamon won't change your health, just as one unhealthy meal won't ruin it. Health is the cumulative effect of daily choices repeated over time. When you add cinnamon to your coffee every morning, you create a steady stream of support for blood sugar regulation, inflammation control, circulation, and nervous system balance. These effects may be subtle at first, but they compound quietly in the background. Another important aspect is compliance. Many health recommendations fail not because they don't work, but because people don't stick with them. Complex protocols create stress and eventually get abandoned. A simple habit, on the other hand, requires no extra planning or motivation. You don't have to remember to take something at a specific time or with a specific meal. It's already built into your routine. This simplicity reduces mental resistance. When the mind doesn't perceive a habit as burdensome, the body benefits from long-term consistency. This is especially important for seniors who often feel overwhelmed by conflicting health advice. A single, easy habit restores a sense of control without adding complexity. Safety is another crucial factor. Many supplements can interact with medications or place stress on the liver and kidneys when taken long-term. Cinnamon, when used in moderate amounts, is generally safe for most people. Choosing true Ceylon cinnamon further reduces the risk of excess coumarin exposure, making it suitable for daily use. This matters because the goal is not a short-term boost, but sustainable support over years. The psychological effect of simple habits should not be underestimated either. When you engage in a daily act that supports your health, it reinforces a positive feedback loop. You become more aware of how your body feels, more connected to your choices, and more motivated to care for yourself in other ways. One healthy habit often leads to another, not through force, but through awareness. Another overlooked benefit is adaptability. A simple habit can evolve with your needs. You can adjust the amount of cinnamon, combine it with other supportive practices like movement or mindful breathing, and personalize it without abandoning the routine. This flexibility makes it resilient to changes in lifestyle, schedule, or health status. Small habits also reduce stress on the nervous system. Drastic changes activate the stress response, which can undermine health improvements. Gentle, familiar actions keep the body in a state of safety. When the nervous system feels safe, digestion improves, inflammation decreases, and healing processes function more effectively. This is an often missed component of long-term wellness. There is also a powerful connection between ritual and biology. Repeated behaviors performed at the same time each day help regulate circadian rhythms. A calm, consistent morning routine signals the body that it's safe and predictable, which stabilizes hormones and energy levels throughout the day. Adding cinnamon to coffee becomes part of that stabilizing ritual. It's important to understand that health does not come from doing everything right. It comes from doing a few things consistently well. When you simplify your approach, you reduce the pressure to be perfect. This allows progress to happen naturally without guilt or frustration. The beauty of this habit is that it respects the body's pace. It doesn't demand immediate results or dramatic changes. It allows the body to respond gradually, strengthening its own regulatory systems. This is how lasting health is built, not through force, but through cooperation. Over time, these small daily choices influence how you age. They affect how steady your energy feels, how clearly you think, how well you move, and how resilient your body becomes under stress. Aging is inevitable, but the quality of aging is largely determined by daily habits. When you look at health through this lens, it becomes less intimidating and more empowering. You realize that you don't need to overhaul your life to make progress. You just need to support your body a little each day.